So I just thought I'd put this short video up regarding, like mind control and stuff like that to do with me. And now what I came across this video, another conspiracy theorist himself. And if you watch this video, which I'll quickly show you, and I'll explain that.
Honestly, this may have purposely been put up here to make us conspiracy theorists. I mean, you can call me what you want. Basically, I just call myself a researcher. I'm a father of two here. I realize that the New World Order has an agenda. I realized that in 2007.
You know, this man recording this video, you can see he's on his own. You don't hear anyone else speak to him. And you know, when you hear him respond, you know, it's like he responds to someone, you know, like saying something to him. I mean, when you he says you can call me whatever you want, you know, to me that says, you know, that someone already heard, you know, someone, you know, ridiculing or, you know, something like that to this dude, you know, and he responded to it. Otherwise, you know, who else was speaking to him? Because, I mean, if you listen to, and it doesn't matter what it is, you know, average videos, like regarding anything, you know, where people make video logs, you know, you see that they just speak normally. But, you know, even I've done it myself probably on a few of my videos, where I've responded as if somebody's saying something to me. You know, I'll show you again. But there's something odd about that. Because you know what me and this man have in common is we're conspiracy theorists. Now, as said, you know, governments and stuff, if they, you know, find someone who talks about that stuff, it's been known. Anyone, you know, it doesn't matter, they don't have to be like part of an agency. You know, they use them as TIs and they try to break them down. So, you know, this is why I go back through again so you can hear it once more.
That the New World Order has an agenda. I realized that in 2007. Basically, I just call myself a researcher. I'm a father of two here. I realize that the New World Order has an agenda. Theorists, I mean, you can call me what you want. This may have purposely been put up here to make us conspiracy theorists. I mean, you can call me what you want. Basically, I just call myself a researcher. I'm a father of two here. Make us conspiracy theorists. I mean, you can call me what you want. Basically, I just call myself a researcher. I'm a father of two here.
You know, it's just how he responds. I mean, if you watch this video in whole, you know, that, you know, most of the video is speaking, you know, addressing, you know, like a personal, like video, with me, myself. I mean, I don't know if I've actually said it on my recordings, but, you know, I've responded, you know, as if there has been something or someone talking to me before. I mean, those videos are put up regarding, you know, suspicions of it being in my flat as well. You know, I still hear it every time I go to bed at night, you know, the silent whisper in my right ear, etc. And like I said, you know, you don't know what, if that's the case, you know, what's being said, you know, through that, those radio frequencies down your ear, you know, while you're isolated in your building all day, which is the thing they do. They isolate the TI, take it in the video as they say. And then, you know, what they do is so they can keep them there and break them down mainly. You know, that's part of that. But I mean, as you saw, you know, the man was speaking, and then, you know, how he reacts. It's like somebody said to him something, you know, as if it made him react. You know, as if someone was saying something to himself. You know, mind control is basically like, you know, a subconscious voice, but you know, it's going through radio frequencies, through like a device, you know, like a radio, a car radio, whatever in a car, is going off frequencies. But where if this is, you know, the person can't hear it on a conscious level, you know, like the vocals of the person speaking to them, But yeah, as I said, conspiracy theorist. I mean, I won't be surprised. I haven't looked at this man or his channel, or like if he's got a page or not. But I mean, I'd assume he might be popular. If he is, as in he's got publicity, then it would say a lot about that. On that basis, because like I said, but yeah. Also, on my videos, I noticed, and if anybody's watched those, when I'm speaking sometimes on those videos, you'll hear me go or something like that, as I do now. And what I noticed is, those things I remember hearing, being put in my ear while I recorded those videos. I could hear them being said through that recording. I mean, you yourselves could watch through those videos again, and when I say or mainly, or I'm saying a certain word or something, you may notice that you hear something yourself. I mean, I can hear it myself, what I remember hearing, whilst I recorded that. I mean, if you don't yourselves can hear that, i.e., it might have gone through the recording of the microphone, then it means it's not just me. But like I said, if that's the case, all I know is definitely since 2012, October 2012, it means that most likely a mind-controlled device, has been in this flat since then. Like I said, the only problem is, regarding these cases, is it's such a big cover-up. It always has been. But because, like I said, what I'll briefly say is, it's such a good tool, for to be used against people if they want to be made a TI. That if it was to be exposed, those people, use those against those people, would have a flaw in their biggest weapon against them. I mean, at the end of the day, it's nobody knows about it. It's hidden, and it's a silent voice, etc. It's just basically radio waves. Therefore, they know that people can't prove it. But like I said, I mean, I don't know the story with Britney Spears, etc. She's a singer, etc. But she said herself, she was made a TI. What her case was regarding, I'm not sure. But that's an example of someone who's not even from an agency like CIA or etc. like that. So, there've been other people, and you know what they do as well. I mean, regarding the man who, shot the Navy Yard in Washington, I believe. What in those regards, he said he heard voices, telling him to kill people, etc. And then the media, etc., was saying he was just a paranoid schizophrenic, etc. It's not true. At the end of the day, what they do is, I don't know the story of this man, who they set up, but it would have been the case of, they would have found him, they would have used him, as that. And then again, it would be a good form to use against someone if they would have wanted to make a false flag operation regarding that, which brought in gun control and stuff. So, to me, because at the end of the day, they wouldn't have even had to make contact with him or even told him to do anything, in physical form, etc. All they would have had to done is they used him as a TI. That I don't know the man's medical background, etc. Regards his like mind state. As in mental illnesses and stuff. But say if he was, I mean, if they wanted to use that on him, which I believe they did, he would have been a decent person to use because it would have been easy to to make do that. Like I said, what I came across as documentation and that regarding mind control and stuff. Something to do with the original MK Ultra, or something to do with they basically they had trained assassins or something like that. Basically with these devices that they could basically use to tell them to go and do something without that a person's knowledge, i.e., you know, why it's called mind control. So, yeah, you know, like I said, in this flat, you know, for a very, very long time, you know, only till recently when I started suspecting it, but I mean, since 2012, I'm very sure, you know, that it's been here all the time, you know, since I moved in here. Whether it's anything to do with those dishes on the side of my house, I believe it is, like I said. You know, when I cut that wire on the side of my house, you know, what leads up to it, you know, it's hard to describe, but, you know, it's like a pressure inside my mind just switched off, and my mind was absolutely clear. You know, that's how I can describe it. You know, it's like having it's like my head it before for a long time. This is why I noticed the difference. It just felt like there was a pressure of like heavy air in my head, right? And all I remember is when I cut this wire, you know, my conscience is emptied and this pressure disappeared. It's the simplest way to explain it. You know, and then all of a sudden, as I said, you know, it's back. But yeah, like I said, regarding that man who made that video, you'll hear, you know, how he responds, you know, as if he's responding to somebody. And yet, you know, as you realise yourself, you know, he made that a personal log. So therefore, you know, to me that says he's a TI as well. You know, because he's a conspiracy theorist. And you know what I'll say as a warning, suspecting myself and seeing from him that he most likely is as well. That wherever you are in the world, especially UK and the US, you know, if you make conspiracy theories and you get a lot of publicity or whatever, you know, always be careful, because, you know, to me, I wouldn't be surprised, you know, based on loads of people out there, you know, if you can be, you know, targeted by your government, and where, you know, your property would be have mind control devices installed, and you know, you wouldn't even realise unless you know the symptoms. But like I said, if you're laying in bed at night, or you know, you're in your flat or your house or apartment, wherever it is, you know, when it's quiet, and if you ever hear, you know, it's like in your right ear, it's like a silent whisper, continuous silent whisper, you know, very hard to hear unless you're asleep, you know, in a very quiet atmosphere. And also, you know, if you hear your right ear click, you know, like in the inside every so often, it's like a pop, you know, those are two symptoms of mind control. I mean, this is what I discovered myself. Before I didn't notice, but I came across, you know, these things, you know, when I was researching it in terms of another thing. And, you know, when I saw, you know, the symptoms from other people who said they were a victim in this, you know, I did notice that, you know, at night when I laid there, you know, the continuous silent whisper in my right ear, it's not like someone whispering, it's a whispering sound. You know, you imagine an inner tube letting out air, you know, really slowly. It's like that, it's continuous. And every so often, you know, what you'll hear is your right eardrum, you know, like inside, it's like a pop every so often. So, you know, always look out for those two symptoms, especially if you can't notice anything else. They're very good signs for it. So, you know, with my brief summary and analysis of why I suspect with good reason, you know, with my flat, you know, simply put, having my control device in it is, first of all, you know, cutting the wire to the dishes on the side of my house. That pressure disappeared in my mind, you know, as if something was interfering. You know, symptoms I found from other mind control victims to discover which I had the same, you know, the continuous silent whispering sound in my right ear, you know, like a silent, as I said, not vocal. And, you know, the right ear popping as well. So, you know, always be careful of that one. Because I tell you now, it, if that's the case, well, you know, it's been a very big reason, you know, why I've been driven to insanity, you know, really pushed to madness myself, living in it, you know, especially without realisation, until, you know, I discovered this. So always be careful, you know, because depending on who you are as an individual, it depends how much you'll be able to handle it, you know, and how you would deal with it yourself. Me, my personal life, I'll just tell you now that, you know, I've just been through a lot of shit to be able to handle it, you know, more than others can. But you know, that's all I'm saying. Cheers.